Now this is a very rare and quite special 2021 Lexus LC 500. I mean, how rare and special is it? Well, you're probably more likely to see a dozen Lamborghinis and a half dozen Ferraris before you ever even spot one of these. And that despite it being out for a number of years. They are extremely rare. I mean, I'll try and touch on, or at least give my opinion as to why this car is not more popular. But I can tell you right now that it's not for a lack of design. In fact, it looks like a concept that's come to life. I mean, if you take the LF-LC concept from a number of years ago, there are so few differences between the two. And that's definitely a plus. I mean, the styling of this car is extraordinary. Just look at the taillights. What is that, right? It's completely nuts. In fact, within the housing of the taillights, they're like reflectors that give a multiple mirror effect to the LEDs. It's just crazy. While I'm back here, I mean, just look at the work in the bumper, the big cross there, the creases. The only thing that's kind of crappy about it, yeah, the tailpipes. But heck, this nori green pearl color too is absolutely fantastic. Look, it looks like a concept. That's definitely a pro, possibly a con. Well, yeah, at the same time. Just scoot around the front. I always thought the headlamps, were a little bit small, but that's obviously a personal thing. Anyhow, I could go on for 20 minutes about the styling and design of this car. But I mean, the image you have in front of you say at least 1,000 words. Let's just get right into the pricing. $92,950 in the US, base price. In Canada, $103,550. Right off the cuff, for a car this special, pricing is not an issue. For that kind of price, I mean, you get Torsen LSD, the 5-liter V8, 10-speed automatic transmission, massive Mark Levinson audio system, navigation, Apple CarPlay, all of that controlled through a 10.3-inch screen. This is truly a luxury car. But mine has one option package, which is the performance package, which adds $13,500 to the price. Yes, for a grand total of $117,050 Canadian dollars. But still, it's not that much money, all things considered. It does add one element that does help out with the car styling. I mean, these insanely crazy, very unique once more, like the car, 21-inch wheels. It also adds this carbon fiber roof, which when wet, yeah, you can see that. It looks fantastic. A number of other elements. The rear spoiler, which is down right now, so you can't really see it. Here, it's not very complicated. See the cutouts there in the trunk lid? That's the spoiler. What else can I say about this car? I mean, physically, it's special. But here I'm going to touch on one thing. For this type of car, and it's one of the issues with the car, is that there's too much Lexus in the car. It's everything everyone wants in a super GT car. But it's too much Lexus. I don't know if that makes sense. See, the LFA was too much Lexus in a sense. That's why it didn't sell well, but it became a cult classic, obviously. Let's just do a quick tour. There's the trunk button. So that's 150 some odd liters, 5 and change cubic feet. So you have room for a little container of stuff, a couple of blinds, and a small backpack, and you're pretty much done. So this is not for golfing. Unless the golf course you go to will hold your bags and clubs for you. Now, it's a GT, as I said, because it's a 2+2. There's the back seats. It's extremely welcoming, anyways, visually. But I'm not even going to attempt to go back there because it's too snug. All right. Toasted caramel interior. This green and toasted caramel interior combination is completely nuts. Also included in the performance package are these sports seats, which are I think like 8-way power adjustable instead of 10 for the standard ones, but whatever, that doesn't matter. Now, what's really, really important to understand about this car, how special it is the materials, the fit and finish, the details, how everything comes together. Look at that. Who puts a cutout in a lovely piece of Alcantara like that for a handle? Only Lexus does that. It's completely nuts. It's beautiful. It's unique. It's, once again, very special. Now let's just slide aboard. All right. That's the 5-liter coming to life. And let me tell you, I love that engine. Look, it's the gauges. They change via the drive mode buttons. So I'm in Sport. You can see there's Sport Plus. There is a custom mode, thankfully, which is fantastic. There's comfort, and there's even an eco mode, which I don't quite understand why they would bother with that. This car is every bit. Here's another example. The handle in the center console. Now, I'm going to try and scoot around and not look too silly, but that's one big piece. I hope you can see that. Who does that? Same thing with the handles and the doors. It's one big piece. It's so beautiful. I mean, the attention to detail is breathtaking. The coloring, the materials, it's so, again, special. HVAC control is very simple, very straightforward, but things kind of fall apart when you get to this 10.3-inch screen. I mean, it is beautiful. Again, lovely layout, but it's not touch sensitive, as you can see. Which means that because this is now an older Lexus product, remote touch. Oh, geez. I mean, look, you use it like a mouse pad, okay? Seeing things move around, but it tries to predict where you're going, what you want to do. It is immensely distracting. You do not want to use this while you're driving. And just that is reason enough for me to, anyway, not like this car. So there's the button. Changing subject, the button for the spoiler in the back. There is some storage. This actually closes. I'll get it. Can I do it? No, because there's probably a wire jammed in there. Anyway, so this armrest slides all the way forward. Very, again, beautiful. Contrast, stitching. Just the carpeting. Look at the carpeting in here. Look at that. It's nicer than most people's living rooms. Oh, and these, yeah, Alcantara and leather seats. There's a shot of the headliner. Oh my God. Oh, and if you must know, the visibility is actually pretty good. Look at the size of the A-pillar. Now, as usual, I'm sitting very, very low in the car, which is the way I like it. Oh, there's also a heads-up display right there. And look what Lexus did, those geniuses. Look at the mirrors, the way they jut out, leaving a big V here for visibility. This is actually, if we were to call it a supercar, one that is quite easy to drive. Here's a little bit more carbon fiber. Oh, yeah, the taillights. Take a look at that. Oh, no, they're not on. I see that. Okay. So, yeah, an absolutely beautiful, very unique car. And now is time to take it for a spin and delight myself in that naturally aspirated V8. All right, so here's the thing. One of the reasons, or possibly the main reason, as to why the Lexus LC is not as popular as it probably should be. Now, I was just driving through, despite it not being very pretty outside, a little village not too far away from here. And there were people, I mean, it's lunchtime just ended, so everybody was kind of leaving lunch. There's a school nearby, this and that, whatever. And obviously, the Nori Green and the styling of this car, it got a lot of looks. Obviously, I wasn't driving fast or... it got a lot of looks. And I'm going to assume that most of the people who looked at the car and gave it a second look as well and pointed at it, the vast majority know very little about cars and pointed at the LC because it's special, it's unusual, it's sporty, it's racy, it's sleek, all of that. My point is that most of those people know little to nothing about cars. And that's all fancy and great and all that, but those who have $100,000, $125,000 to spend on a car like this are looking for that attention in part, but also want attention from those who know about cars. And the thing is, a Lexus just doesn't cut it. Despite how incredible an automobile and an engineering and design achievement the LC is. And what I just said applies so immensely to the LFA. I mean, as different as the LC and the LFA are, they suffer more or less the same fate. Because if you're going to spend that kind of money, you want a car that enthusiasts, people who know, are going to say, good choice. But the vast majority of those people have never driven any of these cars and know very little about them anyhow. So the LC 500, 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, probably, with very little doubt, not only one of the very few remaining of the type, but also probably one of the greatest of the kind available now. 471 horsepower, which isn't mind-blowing. 398 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. Not mind-blowing either. But with a 10-speed automatic transmission, the resulting thrust is beautiful, suave, but not mind-blowing. 0 to 60 miles per hour, 4.4 seconds, which, I don't know, depending on how many shifts the 10-speed needs, I'm kidding. 4.6 seconds, give or take 200 kilometers an hour, so that's not mind-blowing either. Those are elements also that don't, it's not a good sales pitch, but to drive the car, to experience the Torsen limited slip differential in the back with a Yamaha damper to keep everything in check, which is crazy. To experience the variable adaptive suspension. In this case, the adaptive four-wheel steering. The way it all comes together, you get the impression that the LC 500 with the performance package is built from one solid block of granite, aluminum, any material you prefer, because everything is so cohesive. Everything is so well buttoned down. This is a big GT, right? 2+2. And I just drove the DB11. The DB11 is 2 and change times more expensive. One of my favorite GTs is the 8 Series, which is priced more or less the same. It's more exciting, more invigorating, slightly more special maybe, but not at the same time. Wow. What am I trying to say? If you want a GT that doesn't fly under the radar aesthetically, but is on equal footing, but also under the radar compared to a number of its competitors, this is it. It's a strange mix that pretty much only Lexus could pull. It is an incredible achievement as far as the car is concerned. The refinement, the design, the content, the driving experience. But none of that justifies spending the money to buy this car over any of its competitors. It's so weird. You cannot help yourself but love this car. It's not ridiculously fast, but it's responsive. It's civilized. It's beautiful. But it's not enough. See, the LFA, the difference was the V10. That was too much almost. But everything else didn't stand out in a number of ways. And this is the same problem, same issue. Will it, however, appreciate and become a fanatical collector's item that will appreciate to ridiculous amounts in 10 years? It's the same, but it's not the same. Strangely, I suppose. It is an incredibly wonderful driving experience. And it stands up to the competition, but it doesn't stand out to the competition. I don't know, I think I make some kind of sense. You won't impress anyone except for yourself, and that's probably not the goal behind these cars. Anyway, that's it.